All right, hey everybody, welcome out to episode 10 of the CraigSkitz podcast, this week with NitroRad. Now, if you don't know James is an incredibly talented, high-quality video game reviewer. Man, this guy produces some awesome stuff. Nearly 300,000 subscribers on YouTube. I actually remember James as a community member on Screw Attack, and now look at him go! He's just like a little weed growing up. Now, I do want to give you a heads up. This episode does have some audio issues. Not major, but I realized while going over after we recorded, my daughter had come in and thought that my mixer board was some sort of game station and was mixing with the, kids. It is what it is. But I appreciate you guys understanding. So it gets a little hot, but it'll be okay. I promise you. James sounds great. It's me. It's a me thing. I tried to correct it. We'll work on it. Either way, if it's first time here, do me a favor, hit the subscribe button. New episodes every single Monday at noon Central Time. And on Wednesdays, I react to classic Screw Attack videos. If you're a fan of the old classic internet, it's always a fun time. So make sure you guys subscribe for that. And of course, turn on the notification bell because it's YouTube. And if you're listening to me wherever you are, whether it's a podcast, I don't know why I'm looking at you because I'm looking at a camera right now. But if you're listening to me wherever you are, I appreciate you spreading the word and letting somebody know about the CraigSkitz podcast and all the great guests I've had on here. We are now in double digits. All right, man, here it is. James, NitroRad, episode 10. Let's go. Hello, James.
What's up?
How are you?
Good.
Man,
I'm tired as hell, and I'm running on 2 cups of coffee, so forgive me if I sound tired, but I'm also talking faster than my brain can move, because there's like a big disconnect between how tired I feel and how shaky my hands are from the coffee, so I'm a nervous wreck today.
Nervous? Why are you so nervous? It's just
I get nervous every time. I get nervous every time I'm on a podcast. I don't know, like, no matter how many times I do it, it never gets easier.
Well, it's going to be an easy one for you. I promise you that. Outside of the jitteriness and stuff. So
yeah.
So the first things first. Number one, I'm not a tea guy or a coffee guy, right? I'm not a huge energy drink guy, right? Like when I was with Game Attack, we had a sponsorship with G Fuel, and G Fuel is really fun and great. That was my first time really taking in a lot of caffeine at one time, and there were times where I was literally just shaking.
That was like me in college was the first time I really started using caffeine because like I used to, back when I had a lot of time, I could sleep when people are supposed to be asleep, but now I don't, so I need coffee in the morning. I usually drink coffee only when I feel like I need to work. Like if I'm at the part of my YouTube job where I'm just playing a game, it doesn't matter. But if I need to like record lines or I need to like write a script, I need to focus a little bit more, so then I'll like whip up a thing of coffee. So I don't drink coffee like too much. Just like, for me, I kind of treat it like energy drinks, because I don't drink energy drinks because they're awful for you. But like, if you're feeling like you need a little boost, you go to the grocery store, pick one of those guys up. No, that's me. I just go down, I just brew a thing of coffee.
Well, that's awesome. Personally, I'm just not a coffee guy. I've never liked the flavor, never liked the smell, never liked the taste.
I never used to be, and I used to like, I used to be very like resistant to the idea of an acquired taste. So like, it tastes bad, so you get used to it. You're all dumb. But then I kind of started using it to like write and record, and I was like, okay, I feel like I can like perform better, speak more clearly because I got that little bit of boost, right? So it's like, now I just drink coffee black because I'm lactose intolerant. So I used to put like a little bit of milk in it, and I would get like a kind of bloating cramps, maybe not enough to really send me to the bathroom, but my lactose intolerance got so bad, even just a little bit does it. So like, instead of like buying like dairy-free milk or whatever, I just get too lazy. So we don't always have it. It's more expensive than regular milk. So I'm just like, I don't give a shit. I'm just going to drink it black. And now I can just do that. It's weird. Like probably 3 months ago, you gave me black coffee, I would like puke. But now I'm just like,
so this truly is like an acquired thing.
It really is. Yeah. And another big part of it I find is like, I never had good coffee black, which is another reason why it just like tastes so bad. I've only had like Tim Hortons coffee, but now we get this really nice coffee called Rescue Coffee, where like the proceeds go to like saving animals or something. My mother always gets it, and their coffee is actually really good. You like have to grind it yourself, and you got to do a couple of extra steps, but like you really taste the difference. Like Tim's coffee black or like Folger's coffee black is like, this is bad. But like when you buy actual good beans, you actually do kind of taste the difference. But again, it's getting past that initial hurdle of like, this tastes awful for like a little bit. You get past that, and then it's like, okay, I kind of appreciate the taste a little bit now.
I'm with you on the acquired taste thing, man. Like, I just don't understand how it's like, well, it tastes really bad at first, but once you have it 7, 8, 9, 15 times, it's really good.
Yeah, like, and again, I never would have had it those 7, 8, 15 times if I didn't like okay, I need caffeine into me. Like, if I didn't have another purpose to make me wake up, I wouldn't be drinking this stuff, you know?
I hear you.
So it's kind of like, that was a little push to be like, okay.
Well, that purpose is NitroRad.
Yeah, that's the embarrassingly juvenile name of my YouTube show.
Let's talk about this. Because like, okay, how old are you?
I am 26.
26. So like, first off, rad is not a word used by many 26-year-olds these days.
Not so much. I think that's more of like an older word, more like 90s. I wasn't a 90s kid. I was an early 2000s kid. So I grew up surrounded by flip phones, Sonic Adventure, and Mario Sunshine.
Nice.
But yeah, like
So what was the inspiration behind the name? Like, were you like, this sounds awesome and edgy?
I'm really nervous and I'm shaking because I'm talking to like cool ass CraigSkitz who I grew up watching, so forgive me for like losing my train of thought.
I'm just a dude.
I'm excited and I'm nervous. I am. But,
I can't wait to talk to you about this. Okay, so tell me, NitroRad though. Tell me about it. I want to hear. My
brain's just exploding with thoughts. I'm trying to like organize them. Yeah,
hey,
so
listen,
NitroRad.
Rapid fire. Go say whatever you want. Whatever you want, James.
All right. We're going into it. So NitroRad was I just had to think of a username because I'm like, okay, I did kind of YouTube before, kind of did like dumb sketch comedy with my friends just for fun, but like one day I sat down, I was like, I really want to just like do gaming stuff. I want to do reviews like Peanut Butter Gamer does, like Angry Video Game Nerd. This is what I really want to do. So like I sat down and I thought of like, I gotta call this something. I kind of wanted to use Nitro because I used Nitro in a lot of my older usernames that I had as like a kid on like any website like Habbo Hotel or Club Penguin, any stuff I had as a kid. I would always use Nitro something. So I'm like, what's a word that just sounds cool that I use all the time? Rad, because for whatever reason, I think I was like 18 or 19, I was always using the word rad because I was big into Star Tropics, and in Star Tropics 2, they throw the word rad around all the time, so I was like, I don't know, that word just kind of worked itself into my vocabulary, and I kind of brought it back in a little way amongst my friends. Like a lot of my friends were calling things rad, so I was like, I don't know, Nitro Rad, easy to remember. And I just I didn't put too much thought into it. I was just like, I just need 2 words, slap them together, and that's what I got. But then, like, years later, I'm just looking back and it's like, this sounds like something a 10-year-old came up with when he was trying to, like, make his Neopets account. Like, I hate it. Like, sometimes I see, like, people talking on Reddit and, like, my name gets brought up and they're like, hey, I saw this video about a Frogger from this guy, made some good points. And then every time I see that one guy being like, you expect me to take this guy seriously when his name is NitroRad? And I'm like, no, you're right. I don't blame you. That is a stupid ass name. I wish I put more thought into it, but
well, why don't you change it?
It's too late.
No, it's not.
I'm too deep in, dude.
No,
like
you're not.
No, like all of my end slates say NitroRad in the video. I'd have to change the info, everything, but I don't know.
Dude, I was stuttering Craig for 10 years.
Yeah, but I mean, you launched a new show, you launched a new brand. I'm still doing what I'm doing, you know. I can't change it halfway through.
Oh, dude, you can absolutely change it. It's not too late. Ultimately, if you don't like it, you got to change it. Like that's because you're the one. Oh, okay, as long as you're cool with it. I mean, you know, that's fine. Well,
I mean, it's not like awful horrible. Like at the end of the day, I just want something that's easy to remember, and it's like 3 syllables, 2 words, easy to spell. You can Google that, and that's what really matters at the end of the day. So like, and again, like I always say I hate my name, and I get people being like, no, it's a cool name, but it's like, I don't know, it just seems kind of juvenile to me. But at the end of the day, I guess it doesn't really matter when I'm doing stuff. Like someday I won't be doing this. Someday I want to like make films and stuff, and I won't be using NitroRad. So I'll get another chance to use a different name and put stuff out there under a different umbrella. But like for now, I think I'm just gonna stick with what I got.
Okay. Well, listen, complacency's fine. That's fine. All right. Well, so if you could change it though, what would you change it to?
I have no idea. That's the other thing. Like I have no idea what I could possibly think of. I don't know, all I can think of is just like really generic stuff using like, I kind of would like to use my regular name because I hate it when people call me like a username. When people call me Mr. Rad or Nitro, I get emails from fans being like, hello, Mr. Rad. I'm like, you just call me James, dude. That's my name. Like,
right.
Because like when it feels so weird to me, like when I'm in Discord calls with like internet friends and they refer to each other as their usernames, that's just like, kind of weird. I don't know. I never really got it because, like, in real life, people call me James. I'd rather why should that be different online? You know?
Right. I hear you.
Yeah.
I'm definitely with that. Right. And that's I understand the perspective of like, well, that's how I know them. Right. That's just how it is.
That too. Yeah. I mean, that's the name they see when they watch my videos, and like I think my own name doesn't get brought up like that much. I know I've said I'm James. I've like typed in the word James into the B-roll where you see me naming my character. Actually, that's not true at all. Every time I name a character in a game, I'm naming him Frankie Gusto, because that's just a stupid name I made up. Yeah, like, my name is barely even out there. A lot of people probably don't even know my name, honestly. But
straight up, no. There is your rebrand. Frankie Gusto.
Frankie Gusto.
There you go.
No, that's like a character within the show, I guess. It's just what I always name my guys, just because it's a stupid sounding name. I mean, like, see, the joke with Frankie Gusto is it's a stupid sounding name. I don't want to rebrand to the stupid sound. Like, that's the dumb name on purpose name.
Listen, I'm here to give you bad business advice right now. That's all I'm trying to do.
I'm here to take it all. I'm here to listen, Craig.
Love it. Well, so obviously, for those who aren't familiar with your stuff, right? You do really high production. I mean, your stuff is extremely high production value.
Very flattering saying is very high production. I mean, I do try my best, and like, I am a film student. Like, I spent 30 grand of my own money going to school. I'm still spending 30 grand because that's what student loans are, and that's going to be paid off when I'm like 38. But, you know, I went to it. I learned how to do it well. I may as well do my best. If I can do it that well, I may as well try, you know?
Sure.
I spent a lot of time, like, after college, like, not finding a film job because Stephen McNeil, our premier at the time, was like, hey, you know that film tax credit where a lot of people can apply and get grants and stuff and make tons of films with a big booming film industry? Goodbye. And I'm like, cool. That happened the week I graduated, and there was nowhere to get hired, no films to work on, no nothing. So started working at full-time, part-time? It was full part-time hours at just a pharmacy called Shoppers Drug Mart. Any Canadian knows Shoppers. I was just a cashier there for like 3 years. But over those 3 years, I was doing NitroRad on the side, and I would just spend like most of my paychecks from working at Shoppers just on new equipment. So like better lights, better cables, better upscalers to get the clean footage. And that was kind of like my 3-year-long journey where I was like, you know what? I hate where I am right now, but I'm going to work to make the production of this show the best I can by just like buying stuff. That was kind of my getting the equipment period of my life. And now I have it all. I can make it look this good. So it's like, I don't know.
Take advantage of it.
Yeah, exactly. I have these skills. I have the ability to do it. It'd be a waste if I didn't.
Well, so what's the, so is NitroRad your full-time job now?
It is, yeah. That's what I do full-time. It takes me like about a week to 2 weeks to produce a video, because I gotta like play the game and do this and that, and I put it out. I just told you nothing about my process, but
well, don't tell me about your process. I want to hear about it. Are you secretive about it, or are you like? Is it?
It's not that complicated a process. I mean, I play through the game, which can take like a varying amount of time depending on how long the game is. I take notes as I play the game, so I always have a notepad file open. And if there's anything I think I could use or anything significant, I like timestamp in the footage. So I got like Game Capture HD running on my computer, and then it'll be like, okay, clip 2 at 10 minutes 50 seconds, this happens, and I just archive a bunch of that stuff just in case, like, you know, if I have 20 hours of footage because the game took 20 hours, I can't comb through 20 hours to ever be able to find that again. So I do that a lot. And then once I'm done playing the game, I using like cross-referencing my notes to remember like points I want to make, I just write the whole script, which can take like a number of days of like proofreading it. And I didn't used to do this. I used to just write the script and then I recorded it without even really editing it that much. But I find I do that a lot more. Like sometimes I feel like even if I'm recording it, sometimes I'll say it out loud, and I feel like once I'm saying it out loud, it doesn't quite work, so I might stop and rewrite some parts, change some segues, maybe rearrange it so like better points feed into other points a little better. Like for example, right now I'm reviewing a game called Echo Knight, which is like it's an old FromSoft game. The people who made Dark Souls, before they made Dark Souls, they made like a bunch of old adventure games, and one of them was this kind of horror-ish, kind of spooky game, because it's what I'm doing them now for, because Halloween's coming up. But it's kind of like a spooky game where, like, I'm talking about, like, how the items kind of feed into, like, the inventory management and all this stuff. And I'm like, wait, wouldn't that point make more sense later on when I'm talking about doing the puzzles? And then I kind of have to rearrange that stuff. So the writing process can take, like, sometimes I do it in one day. Depends on, like, how organized my brain feels like making my thoughts. Sometimes it can take a couple of days. And then I just record it all and edit it all, and that can take like a week to 2 weeks, depending on the video, depending on the game.
Is it worth it?
Yeah, I guess. People watch them, people like them, and I like making them.
Nice. Hey, great answer.
Hell yeah.
Killing it. Well, so you've been doing this since 2013, is that correct?
I think it was 2013. I think I made like a couple of videos then, but maybe it was 2014. I think my first video was the top 10 games of 2013 or top 10 games of 2012. I don't know. Like, my first couple of videos were just, like, super simple crap. Like, I'm gonna count down my 10 favorite games this year because that's easy. And, like, half of the games weren't even from that year because I didn't play enough games. So I'm putting, like, Far Cry 3 on there, which, like, came out at the end of last year. I don't know. That first video sucks. And then I made, like... I remember I was just talking with one of my film professors when I was in the studio, just like setting up lights and doing a cinematography practice. And I was just talking to him about like what I could do on YouTube, and I wanted to do reviews, but I wasn't at the point yet that I wanted to put in the work to make a review, because doing like a top 10 where I just talk in front of a camera and then edit it takes a lot less effort. So I did like top 10 hilariously bad songs, which was just like... I didn't even really know how to make that interesting or funny. It's just me kind of reacting to the bad song and doing silly dances. But then after that, I did Star Tropics, which was an NES game I grew up with. And it's one of my favorite games ever. And like nobody ever talks about it. There's probably like one or two other videos out there at the time. And then I was like, okay, I want to make this channel because there's games I really care about that like there's no info online for. So I just want to be the guy to like, here's this game. And that was really it, honestly. It was no more simple than that. It's kind of like, yeah, I just want to show people games.
Well, so Star Tropics, obviously, it's in your intro. It's, that was a pretty major title for Nintendo when it was initially released.
It was, like, hugely impressive. It had, like, a lot of adventure elements that, like, Zelda had. It had, like, multiple chapters. It told a story. Like, the graphics were really good for the time, and it was just like this big, cool adventure game. It had a save feature with which a lot of NES games didn't have at the time. And, like, I just remember it sticking out to me way more than any other NES game, because very few NES games made me feel like I went on a big, long adventure. Usually I'm just, like, beating level 1, beating level 2, beating the boss. But this was something that had a story. Like, I wasn't just a guy in a baseball shirt with a yo-yo going to a cave. No, there was a context for that. I'm looking for the guy's uncle. I'm looking for the submarine to get to the next island to, like, talk to these dolphins. And they got, like, secrets about, like, I don't know how to get to the octopus. I'm making this sound as... horribly uninteresting as possible, but
no. It legitimately sounds like somebody was on some serious like drugs whenever they came up with the idea.
I mean, like you could say that about anything. Video games are a weird medium,
right?
Especially back in the day when they're like everything was just like pixel sprites, and you had to make up funny characters because there was like you couldn't make photorealistic humans that just looked like a TV show yet,
Well, it's funny because you also mentioned Star Tropics 2. Like you may be the one guy who played it.
That game came out, I think, the same year I was born. Might have even been the same month, June 1994. That game came out pretty close to when I was born.
Like just the idea of having an NES title in 1994 is crazy. That's 3 years after the Super Nintendo.
I think it was also when Mega Man 6 came out that year too, because they were still making those old 8-bit Mega Man games even after Mega Man X. Because I think there was like, it was after that NES top loader came out, and they were like, well, we're making this cheaper version of the old Nintendo, let's keep making games so people buy it. And I think Star Tropics 2 was just one of those, like, we had to make more NES games, throw a B team on Star Tropics 2, which nobody wanted or bought. I do like that game a lot, though. A lot different than Star Tropics 1, but the humor's kind of stupider, so I kind of like it. I like the way Mike looks in this cool new blue jacket. Some of the weapons are fun. I think it's like a weaker game overall. They changed the controls, which is kind of... I mean, the original controls were kind of weird, but they made them, like, not weird, but you kind of expect them to be weird, so they're, like, don't really work for that type of game as much. I think, at least. Oh, excuse me, I'm burping.
Hey, go get it, man. It's that coffee, that caffeine, man. It makes you do crazy things.
Yeah, I also have, like, a weird stomach thing that just makes me, like, burp uncontrollably whenever I eat or drink anything.
Well, we're going to count the burps so far.
Oh, God.
One
burp. One burp. Get a burp counter on screen.
That's right. Or we'll just have, and if you're watching right now, which chances are you are, or you're listening, wherever you're watching or listening, I need you to put in the comments section, wherever it is, keep track of the amount of burps that James has throughout the
I want to know, over like a 2-hour period, assuming that's like how long his podcast goes for. I want to know how much I really do burp. Like, because I'm fumbling over my own words trying to talk, but I'm burping at the same time because I'm also dumb. I don't think to like stop talking when I'm burping or sneezing. Like I just talk through it because I can't stop talking. I just want to hear my own voice.
Hey, you sound great, buddy. You sound great. Love it.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Speaking of your voice, so your voice, you got a really nice voiceover voice.
Oh my God, don't.
Right?
I'm trying really hard not to develop an ego, Craig, and you're making that really hard right now.
I was gonna say you have a really great one compared to a box of sand. All right.
Okay, well that's a little okay.
All right. You cut me off. It's horrible. No, but you actually like when I first heard your voiceover, it sounds I got a little bit of Brandon Jones, if you're familiar with Brandon Jones from
Not at all.
Okay, so Brandon,
I'm extremely uncultured.
No. So Brandon did the voiceover work for GameTrailers.com.
Oh, what am I? Yeah, of course I know. I don't know him by name, but yes, they're doing Easy Allies now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yes,
and I watch Easy Allies every now and then. He's still doing that voice, and he's still incredible sounding.
He's great, man. He's great.
Yeah.
So anyway, when I first heard your voice, I was like, oh, he's got a little Brandon in him, which is good. So
I appreciate that actually
for
a
sure.
lot. That means a lot to me because I actually grew up like watching a lot of game trailers. Like I heard that voice nonstop when I was in like probably middle school, high school. I always liked that how like some people found it a little disingenuous because like on other websites like Screw Attack or Giant Bomb or GameSpot, the reviewer who actually wrote the review would do the voiceover.
Sure.
Like I'm actually watching Jeff Gersman talk about his own thoughts, but on game trailers, they had the one voice guy who would just read all the reviews and kind of produce it into a video. And eventually they kind of started putting the writer of the actual review on screen, which I think was a little better. But while I understand that perspective, there was also kind of reminded me of like watching TV where there's always the voice guy and you would always hear this like voice say all the commercials and all of the this and that, and I kind of liked having that one consistent voice that was kind of like this is the game trailer's brand is that voice, and there's something about that I really liked. Also, it was just a really good voice too. Like I could listen to it. I would listen to it all day because I would like watch like 5 reviews and then a retrospective and one afternoon when I'm doing homework in like grade 10 English, and I'm just listening to that guy's voice all day. It was great. So like to hear you compare me to that is actually incredibly flattering. Appreciate that a lot, Craig. Thank you.
Hey. All right.
Hell yeah.
Nice. So you mentioned obviously game trailers, Giant Bomb, Screw Attack. Do you have any early influences in your career or how you pop, how you create videos, your process? Anybody you looked at early on?
Okay, well, I think the obvious answer is Angry Video Game Nerd, because that's he was the guy that, like, pretty much invented game reviews as we know it. I mean, he kind of explored it through the lens of this character that reacted in a way that James wouldn't IRL. But I find the first person I started watching that really influenced me that was kind of like not playing into a character, but rather just being themselves and just talking about whatever they found was interesting was actually Peanut Butter Gamer. I remember watching his earliest stuff back when he was putting it, because back when Screw Attack hosted like fan-made content and would even front page a lot of it.
Yeah.
That's when I first found Peanut Butter Gamer was one of the earliest people really doing that a lot. And I remember like clicking on that, and it was so weird not seeing a personality or like a character. It was just him being like, hey, I found some UFOs and Wii Ski on the Wii. It's like, who the, can I swear on this podcast?
Yeah, of course you can.
Who the fuck would care about that?
Oh,
Nobody.
You can't say that.
But
no, I'm totally
oh my god! Like I asked first, and you just the betrayal. Come on.
Totally.
But no, like it was like just this guy on like that no one cared about talking about UFOs and Wii Ski, and it's like who the fuck cares about that? Nobody but this guy. But that's why it was so interesting. I couldn't stop watching his videos because it was just this guy being like, here's all this weird stuff I really find interesting that nobody else is going to talk about, and it clicked with me so much, and that's kind of what I wanted to do. I wanted to make videos about stuff that I knew about or stuff I found interesting that was just like nobody else was talking about, or nobody else could make it that interesting, because it's like anybody could talk about UFOs and Wii Ski, but only Austin Hargrave could make that as interesting as it was, you know?
Sure. Austin's really talented. He's always been a super talented guy, and he definitely has a unique perspective on a lot of stuff, which is great. Have you met him?
I haven't met many people because I live in the middle of nowhere in Canada. I've met like one other YouTuber IRL.
Do you want to?
That's like it. I don't know. If I meet him, I meet him. I'm not going to go out of my way to do it, but
okay, because right now on this Zoom call, I have no, I'm totally kidding.
I was going to say, no, you have Austin in the Zoom call. That'd be crazy.
No, just for some reason, I always have Peanut Butter Gamer on standby to hop in Zoom calls
like,
at any point.
How much research did you do? Is like, I know exactly what's going to bring up, unless you just have like 10 people on standby in case I bring any of them up. But
it's amazing. Yes, what you don't know is that every former guest is on standby at all times to
oh
appear.
My God.
So
that would take so much work to like coordinate. God,
it'd be a great gag though. I'll tell you what.
It would be. Just one
awesome.
second. Do you mind if I run to the washroom and get some more water? Because my mouth is super dry because this coffee is kicking my saliva's ass.
Do it. Go crazy.
Right.
Go crazy.
I'll be right back.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'll wait 2 seconds.
Sure, take your time. And at this point, I'll let you know that this podcast is brought to you by you over at patreon.com/CraigSkitz. You can visit me right now and support this channel, support this show, support one-on-one conversations, behind-the-scenes stories with your boy and his boys hanging out. Once again, you can listen to the show early, and you can actually ask questions to our guests.
All right, like I said, 2 seconds. My
yes,
right there.
You nailed it.
Yeah.
Nailed it. Also, I was letting everybody know they can support the show via Patreon, which is great. So,
awesome.
Sorry
to interrupt, but
no, it's okay. You did great.
I actually have a funny story about Austin. I had like a really weird interaction with him. I wonder if he even remembers this. Like, he follows me, and we've had like a couple of exchanges, but I never really like spoke to him. So like, I don't even know if he remembers this. But when I first started my channel, I probably only had a couple of videos out. I was 19 and I was in college, and I was just being like, I was still young. I was a teenager. I was kind of obnoxious, and I still had that mindset of like, you know, people who are big on YouTube are like these gods that will never see us, the regular people. Right. And it's really, and I see a lot of people like sending me kind of like rude stuff, assuming I'd never see it, like kind of like as an inside joke with their friends. And then I'll reply to it, and they'll be like, "Oh, I didn't know if you would see this."
I'm sorry. Yeah, right.
So with that mindset, my friends and I had an inside joke where one day I was gonna beat up Peanut Butter Gamer and take all of his subscribers because I had like probably like 1,000 subscribers at the time. It's like, yeah, someday I'll be bigger than that guy. We just picked a random guy. So I like one time tweeted at him, "Someday I'm gonna beat you up," because like juvenile, like lunch money. I sent him a picture of myself doing that or something. Right. And like, obviously I thought he was never gonna see that because I'm just a dumb teenager clowning around on the internet with my friends. And after I did that like a couple of times, like this was like a running gag where I would just harass him on Twitter for no reason. And then one day, he sends me this giant DM on YouTube. Back when you could DM people on YouTube, do you remember that? Sure. And he was like, so normally when people harass me, I would just ignore it. But I remember you. You were the first person who ever drew me fan art, which I forgot about that. I was the first person to ever draw Austin fan art, like way back in the day when I was a high schooler. It was really bad fan art, but it was the first he ever got. So he actually remembered me. And he was like, you know, I could just ignore you, but I see you're working hard on your YouTube channel. I see that kind of means a lot to you. I see you like put a lot of effort into it. So you know what? I'll be the bigger person. I'm wishing you all the best, and I hope you do well. And like, I just crumbled. Like, I was just kind of clowning on him, and like, that was like the most mature way he could have possibly reacted.
Right.
And that actually really encouraged me to kind of like, I feel like that exchange bettered me as a person a little bit, because it was like, you know what? Yeah, other people do see the shit I post online. People can like see that and get pissed off. I don't want to be a little jerk on the internet, you know? And I see the opposite of that now. I see people sending me that same kind of stuff, like clowning around, but like, I think because of that interaction I had with Austin, like that just really like encouraged me to kind of like, I got to smarten up a little bit. I got to take this a little more seriously, and I'm going to be the best person I can.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's absolutely amazing. So number one, how did you respond to that? Were you like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to"?
I responded like a little twerp. I just sent him another picture of me like doing that.
No!
And then I just said, "Still gonna beat you up." Because I was like, and that stewed in my brain. That's such a juvenile response. Like a week later, I was still thinking about that, being like, come on. He was being the bigger person. I decided to be a little shit. A week later, I responded again. I was like, "Yeah, sorry for harassing you. Thanks for being nice," or something like that. And I don't know if he responded to that, but then like years later, he followed me on Twitter, and now we have exchanges sometimes. So like, he probably knows. So Austin, if you're watching this, thank you for doing that. That meant a lot to me, man. And that like really inspired me to like be the best version of myself I could be.
Wow. That's absolutely amazing. And I love everything about that. Because
crazy.
The reality is people talk about, you know, you can definitely look, everybody, 100% of everybody when you are a teenager, late teenager, early 20s, you're just a giant fuckface. Right?
Yeah, 100%.
Like, you're a jerk. You think you know everything.
You don't know shit,
You
though.
don't know shit, right? And like, so you're 26 right now. You're
26.
just on the cusp of starting to learn things, right? Which is
I
feel
like I've just been starting to learn things in like only the last 2 years.
Right.
Like my understanding of the world has been like rapidly growing, but only for like 2 years.
Right.
You know?
Exactly. It's crazy, but like it's fascinating to just kind of see that, especially in like today's society where like everybody is just an asshole to everybody about everything all the time.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's crazy. It's great, man.
And that's also why it's kind of easier to think like, if I could be a jerk to this guy online for no reason, nothing will come of it, because that's just how we act. But like, I think Austin really showed to me that like a little bit of kindness can go a long way. Because if he replied being an asshole, we would have just kept being assholes to each other. But like what he said kind of made me take a step back, reevaluate myself, and want to be a better person. And like focus harder on my YouTube channel, because he told me it was actually good, and here was somebody I used to watch when I was younger that I was just clowning on for no fucking reason, being like, you know what? I can do this. So like, I think because of that, like I get people being like little shits to me all the time, and I sometimes just want to be a dickhead back. I want to just be like, fuck you and fuck off.
Right.
Fuck you. I don't know. I'm not very creative with like comebacks, but like now I kind of know, like, you know what, I remember I was in the same position too when I was at 19, not even like 17, like this kid's profile says. Sometimes I just want to like reply not like that. You know?
Wait. So you're speaking specifically about some person right now, because you're like, this kid's
just generally,
17.
Generally speaking. Like I always click their profiles because I'm like, who is this random motherfucker just saying shit to me online? And it always says they're like 17 or 18. It always says they're young. So if I see that they're young, I'm like, you know what? I was that person before. I'm not gonna engage, or I'll say something that's kind of like, hey, you know what? I know you're being an asshole, but like, I don't care.
Right. The way we always responded, especially when you're like, so I live streamed the last like 3 years, right? Over on Game Attack. And whenever somebody would come in that had issues, we would just simply go, like, they come in and try to troll. Our response was always, are you okay? You know, and that seems to be the thing that a lot of times people be like, no, I had a bad day at school, or my dad's being a jerk to me, I'm sorry. And oftentimes people will like, it's a moment of self-reflection for them, and they go, oh crap, I really am being a total jerk here for no reason.
And I think it's like, that's why it's good to like have these conversations. Like that is a really good way of handling that, just asking, are you okay? Because then that opens a conversation, and then somebody has like a space where they can like, you know what, I'm gonna talk about this shit, and then maybe I'm not gonna feel so shitty about it. I'm not gonna feel the need just to be a jerk to other people,
That's awesome. Well, see, one of my questions to you was gonna be, is there a moment that you're least proud of? But I think we just heard it when it
me harassing Peanut Butter Gamer for no fucking reason because I thought it was funny. But again, that was an experience that changed me like a lot. It really did. You learn from it, and that's the most important thing. That's so good. Do you have something on the flip side, something that you're extremely proud of in your short but illustrious career? James? For me, anything I'm proud of is when I'm like, I'm going to spend a whole day on this 5-second joke. So one of my favorite jokes I've ever done in a video, it wasn't even really a joke, it's just like a sequence, just kind of to illustrate how I felt about something, was a video I did recently about the e-reader on the Game Boy Advance in Animal Crossing. Because again, another weird thing I grew up with, I was buying those Animal Crossing e-reader cards, I was swiping them, I was doing all the dumb bullshit that was pointless on the GameCube. Nobody else was. Wait, I was the only one I knew that was doing this, so I had to make an adult. An entire video about the e-reader cards in Animal Crossing on the DS. It's like for the GameCube. GameCube. The Game Boy Advance. You could plug the Game Boy Advance e-reader into the GameCube and unlock stuff in the GameCube version. And there's even like some exclusive stuff you could only unlock through the cards, like these 2 hidden NES games that like for a while a lot of people didn't know how to unlock without like cheats like Action Replay. And it turns out that like 2 of them were these like really rare e-reader cards, which I actually ended up getting. This dude who watches me actually sold them to me for like a really good price. Shout out Seafoam Gaming real quick. That guy, God bless that guy. Yeah, let's go. Parting ways with those cards must have been difficult because they're super rare, but he gave me a good deal on them, and he knew they were going to go to a place where I was going to document them, show them in good quality, and get the word out, because I feel like I hate owning stuff like that unless I'm like, I'm going to actually use it. because I'm getting kind of off topic, but just a quick bit, like, I see in, like, local Facebook groups, and I see collectors buying these rare shit, and I'm like, I know you're just gonna put it on a shelf. So sometimes I have had people local sell me a rarer game for a good price. Like, I got Rule of Rose for, like, I think only 150 from a dude named Dylan. Shout out Dylan. But he knew I was going to do a high quality video showing what that thing was instead of having it collect dust on a shelf. But I got way off topic. I don't remember what I was saying before.
I was just first off, I don't even know what Rule of Rose is.
Super rare PS2 horror game. It's not super great, but it's a really interesting, weird game.
Okay. Second, we were talking about your proud moments and how you spent
proud moments. Okay, sorry. My brain is a train wreck fog right now.
That caffeine. It's okay.
That caffeine. It's. See, my mouth's getting ahead of my mind.
It's okay.
But yeah. So my proudest moment, one of my proudest moments, is in that e-reader video. I described the sensation of what I thought it was going to be like to buy that e-reader and swipe that card. I thought it was going to be like Digimon Tamers. I was huge into Digimon Tamers, where they're swiping the cards, getting the power-ups for the Digimon. It's all flashy. You see the neon green with the harsh black shadow background, the lights, and I recreated that sequence from Digimon Tamers. I put blackout curtains all on my wall just behind me here. I lit myself as well as I could. Lighting yourself without a studio with one person setting up the lights, going back, checking the reference, really difficult. It took me a whole day to film and then edit that. And it's just me with this like pitch black background. I look incredibly HD, all in 4K too. One of the first sequences I did fully in 4K. And it's just me like catching this Digimon card as it comes down like the show, and I swipe it through the e-reader, slow motion, and there's electricity sparking everywhere, and then it just cuts to the e-reader, read error. Because that's how it felt. That's how it felt to buy that thing. I thought it was going to be like Digimon, this epic sequence, and I swipe it, and it's just like, no, it's not that exciting at all. So that sequence, it's like 5 seconds long, but it took me a full day to do, just because I wanted to. No real reason other than that, but like, it's stuff like that. When I put a lot of work into like one small aspect is what I really like doing. Another example recently is for my Hylix 2 video. That's like this really cool indie game where all of the characters are made with claymation and the worlds are actually rendered in 3D. But what the guy did is he made the clay worlds out of clay and then 3D scanned them and put them in the game. So the worlds have this very clay-like texture to them. And I actually recreated my intro with the TV. I recreated that with claymation in kind of like the bit crushed visual style. I don't know if bit crush is the best word for that, or the proper word for that, but like kind of like when you only got like 8 colors, or like you remove the colors so it kind of gets that crunchy DOS kind of look.
Sure.
I recreated that. Again, that took me a full day of like taking the pictures, doing the claymation. I just bought a bunch of clay from the dollar store, spent a whole day on that, and I just, for that one video, my intro is completely different, looks just like the game, and I never used it again. And I don't know, I just like putting a lot of work into one disposable thing because people seem to really appreciate that. I always get so many comments about like, yo, that Digimon clip was crazy, or like, I cannot believe you recreated your intro from scratch just for this one video. And for some people, it doesn't make sense. Some people are like, why would you do all that work for a 5-second thing? And I'm like, I don't know. I thought it'd be cool.
Hey, you know what? I love it. That's outstanding. It's so good. I'm looking at your channel right now, and I notice you're going through an incredible Frogger binge.
Oh God, yes! I just finished actually. Frogger Helmet Chaos was the last one in that review series. At least for a little bit. There's Frogger Toy Trials, but I don't want to talk about Frogger anymore, Craig. You see how many Frogger videos there are. I've just been playing nothing but Frogger for half a year now. It's got to stop. It's got to stop.
What is this? Just like, well, it was a good, it was a good original OG game. Like, I really need to talk about all the spinoffs.
Well, the thing is, like, I just like doing review series about like one entire series because like doing NitroRad is kind of like a personal journey for me. I just want to know what these games are, and I would never have an excuse to actually play through the entirety of all of these games if it wasn't my job to do it and to tell the whole world about it too. So I've always seen all these frickin' Frogger games. There was ones with different box art, the 3D one with a smug face, then they had this really nice like 2D art style for no reason for like 4 games, and they went back to like a different art style. So like my whole life, I just saw Frogger in his own weird little corner of the world, like constantly morphing and changing shape and looking different with every like passing year, and I'm like, what the fuck is going on with these Frogger games? I don't ever hear anybody talk about them, and I found out why people don't talk about them. I figured out by the end of that review series, it was actually a very mismanaged series by Konami. you know how bad Konami is now, but they've always been bad. You can tell it's just a bunch of businessmen sitting at a table. The sales were down for this one, so we'll reboot it again. We'll reboot it again. We'll reboot it again. It's just like that. Right. They don't like numbers, and they throw it to a different studio with a different direction, and that series is so all over the place. So, like, I always saw that, and I literally just wanted to figure out what these freaking games were. That was it.
I'm looking at the catalog of Frogger games. And
there's a lot of them.
So, yeah, I had no idea. I mean, the fact that... Okay, let's see. So, in addition to Frogger 1...
Yeah.
Which is, like, okay. Which I
like
think most people have played.
Then there's Frogger 2.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6... I mean, there's probably legitimately 25 games here.
Yeah.
And they've all... Like, the vast majority of them have been released... in the last 20 years, which is crazy.
It's like between like the late 90s and the mid 2000s. Like they just released a bunch of these freaking Frogger games.
Wait. How do you have Frogger 2 in 1984 and then Frogger 2 on the Xbox 360?
Frogger 2 on the Xbox 360?
Yeah, there's two Froggers.
I see, because again, Frogger is a series that they like threw around and rebooted a bunch. So like there was Frogger 2 in like the 80s on DOS. Mm-hmm. Then there was Frogger 2 Swampy's Revenge on the PS1, which is a sequel to the PS1 reboot.
Wait.
And then they made like Xbox Live Arcade reboots and made sequels to those. So there's like 3 or 4 games called Frogger 2.
You're right. There are three games called Frogger 2. What is happening? Konami, get your shit together.
Because again, they get numbers they don't like and they just reboot it. They just kept unplugging and plugging in that series to try and change the numbers, but they had no idea why the games that did sell sold. And that's what a series looks like when that happens.
Hey, when you own an IP like Frogger, you just gotta churn them and burn them, baby.
Yeah, it's like one of the most iconic arcade mascots of all time. And then like, they brought him back with the PS1 game, Frogger He's Back, as most people call it, 1997. They made a sequel to that didn't do as well, rebooted again, made a Game Boy Advance game that did better, make the games like the Game Boy Advance games, and those don't... It's like, no one's gonna buy these games, you just keep making them. You gotta like put a lot of effort into making a couple of good ones, but no, they're making like tons every year, and it just flatlined.
Wow, did you know?
They didn't know that. They didn't know what they were doing wrong, evidently.
No, I didn't know that Frogger had so much lore behind it.
It does.
This is crazy.
Across like between like the Frogger the Great Quest and then Frogger the Ancient Shadow on PS2, there's like a bunch of new characters and like a whole like new Frogger world of characters and lore and stuff that they introduced and used for a couple of games. And there's like a lot of really fun characters. In the last one on PSP, you can play as Barry, who can climb on walls, which actually adds a lot of new cool stuff to Frogger. You can play as Lumpy, who has like these unique abilities. And they finally got it right with the last PSP game. They figured out how to use these characters that they just kept introducing, and then they scrap it all from canon and reboot it again.
They did it. They reached the apex with Lumpy.
Yeah, Lumpy the Toad, dude. Extremely underrated character. Lumpy the Toad's a G, dude.
I mean, I didn't even know he was rated, let alone underrated or overrated. I wasn't quite sure.
I think Lumpy the Toad is perfectly even rated.
Just even keel, which is great.
Yeah.
Look at this. So according to everyone's favorite website, Wikipedia.org.
That's my favorite website.
Yeah, in 1999, Ricky's world famous hot sauce offered $10,000 to the first person who could score 1 million points in Frogger, or $1,000 for the new world record prior to January 1, 2000, which, by the way, I know you were just a young in there. It's crazy time. Y2K, world was going to collapse.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's crazy time.
Definitely before my time.
For them throwing $1,000 around at that time, that's crazy.
That's such a weird thing that happened.
Right. And apparently some guy offered $1,000 in 2005 to beat the George Costanza record on Frogger. From Seinfeld.
I actually referenced that Seinfeld episode in one of those Frogger videos. I don't know which one it was, but
wow, that's awesome. That's
gotta
great.
Have that bit in there. That's a great episode.
Apparently, some guy actually scored over 1 million points. Good for him.
Did he get the money?
Well, no. This is several years later in 2017.
So nobody made the score back in the day, but people did it later when it didn't matter anymore.
No, exactly. This is
cool.
Pat LaFay. Pat LaFay is currently the world record holder in
good
Frogger.
job, Pat. You did it.
We need to get Pat. No, we're not going to get Pat on the podcast. But you know,
we got to get Pat on the podcast right now. You got him on standby, don't you?
I got him. He's coming right now. I bet you didn't know that.
On the line.
Awesome. Love it. Well, so you want to talk about some video game news because it ties into your videos.
Sure.
So they announced the new Mario 3D World, Mario 3D All Stars thing.
Oh yes, they did.
Where
in a really weird way too. It's like kind of limited physical for I don't know what they're doing with that. That's like,
right.
But I'm really glad they are bringing those 3 games to Switch at the very least. I mean, there's a lot of decisions they made around it that I like. It's way too expensive, but I mean, I don't know. Mario 64 and Switch, I kind of want that.
So that's what I was going to get to. Was your most popular video is Mario 64 DS?
Yeah,
right?
Weirdly enough. But I think it's because, like, so many people review the DS version as, like, a footnote when they review the main game. They're like, you know, maybe, like, 5 minutes to be like, oh, yeah, they also did this thing, and then there's a couple of differences. But I feel like I think I'm one of the few people that actually made a whole video about it. And I guess there was that much of a demand for, like, that much information, like, focused just on that version of the game that ended up, like, doing gangbusters. It was... Hey. I didn't expect that at all, but I mean, sometimes you stumble into those niches, I guess.
Nintendo is not niche, man. Nintendo fans
well, I mean,
love
like this
Mario.
very specific version of one of their games is like kind of unexpected, you know.
Well, so are you disappointed that they're porting the original Mario 64 over and not the DS version?
No, I'm glad they're porting the original version because
really?
the DS version has like a lot of cool things in it, but I would never recommend that game over the original because I feel like, I don't know, the controls just weren't as good. Like, you control it with a D-pad, doesn't have the 360 analog, unless you use, like, the touchscreen controls. But, like, I feel like that kind of strips away a layer of what made Mario 64, because the whole point of that game was, wow, we have analog control, look how good this controls. And then they put it on the DS and didn't have that, and I felt like it kind of lost the point a little bit. And also, you can just cheese everything by playing as Luigi, and he can jump like way too high, and you can skip most of the obstacles that way. And I don't know, it's a cool version of that game with some cool stuff, like being able to play as Yoshi's cool, being able to play as Wario's cool. Some of the extra mini games and stuff is cool. You got the 30 extra stars, but like the original is the experience. So I would only recommend that version if you've already beat the original.
Okay, so I was going to say, because you don't have to worry about the D-pad on the Switch, right? You have to.
Oh, you know what? That's right.
So that was kind of that was your main critique, and you don't have to worry about that, and you still have access to all those amazing characters.
I guess I guess that's true, and they could probably have a lot of those mini games in there because the Switch has a touchscreen.
Right.
Yeah, you can still play those.
See, touche. Just get me on your marketing team, Nintendo. And talk about it. All right, well let's talk about this. So, what did you do prior? You said you went to school.
Yeah, I went to film school for about 2 years. Did
you have any jobs prior to film school, or were you like a sacker at a grocery store or anything like that? Or
the only job, like the only like real like job I had before college. I didn't really work much through at high school, but in my last year of high school, I worked at Toys R Us.
Oh, come on. Dude.
Yeah, Toys R Us sucked to work for.
Okay, then let's talk about the nitty gritty here. Then
they're just not a. I don't know if it was just like the management of that location itself, but like. I feel like they hired way too many people who didn't know how to manage them because they were opening a new Toys R Us and they did a mass hiring through a job fair, which I just showed up and I was one of the hundreds of people they hired. And I don't know, it was just such a big team. They were trying to manage 2 stores at once, dividing the staff between the 2 of them. It was just kind of messy.
2 hiccups, by the way.
Huh?
2 hiccups, by the way.
Oh, God. You're still... I don't even... It's so normal to me. I don't even notice it. I just keep going. I just plow right through them. But yeah, I don't know. It just wasn't super great to work for. But it was a super exciting time in history because I was in 12th grade. I was probably 2011 turning 2012. And I was big into watching videos about retro games because I grew up with the NES. And I had a couple of retro games as a kid, but I mostly grew up with GameCube and N64. Mm-hmm. So... And there's a lot of old consoles I didn't even really play much or know much about. The Dreamcast was one I really wanted to get into because when I was like super young, like 5 or 6, I went to a daycare for lunches and they had a Dreamcast and they had Jet Set Radio. And I wanted to learn more about that. And this is kind of like the peak of me learning about all these consoles I don't know much about. So I'm watching all these videos about Dreamcast. So obviously I get my first job. My first paycheck I ever spent is on a Dreamcast and a copy of Jet Set Radio.
Man, so this is, what year is this again, you said?
2011, 2012, the last year of high school.
So you bought the Dreamcast.
Yeah.
You plug in the Jet Set Radio.
Yeah.
Or you put it in, whatever. Your thoughts when you first turn on your own Dreamcast.
Oh, God. It was amazing. It was like being reconnected with something that's been running away from you your whole life. Because, Jet Set Radio was always one of my favorite games that I ever played it as a kid. But again, it was only at daycare for one summer. And the big kids always wanted to play Vigilante 8, but here I am, 6-year-old James, being like, no, I want to play the cool game with the jet skis, not the jet skis, jet skates. Imagine Jet Set Radio, but like on an alpine slope with fucking skis. Anyway, no. And I always wanted to play that game, and I rarely got a chance to. Sometimes I would sneak back into like the gaming room when all the other kids are outdoors playing basketball, and I would sneak in. I would just play Jet Set Radio by myself. So Jet Set Radio was something like, for a long time, I was probably 5 or 6, and I would have been like 16 or 17 when I got it. So probably like 9, 10, 11 years. I was like, I just want to play that Jet Set game again. One summer, I figured out Dreamcast emulators. I don't know if they work better now, but they didn't work good then. And I tried playing it on that, and it just wouldn't work on my old computer in like 2011 or 2010 or whenever that was. So I just remember buying that magical white box, look kind of cool and sleek and slim in a way that like a lot of Nintendo consoles didn't look. I put that thing in, and finally it's like being reconnected with that thing you've been chasing your whole life. And I just beat it all in one sitting.
Did you? Oh, that's great. Did you expand your Dreamcast library after that? Little bit.
I don't have a lot of Dreamcast games. I just burnt a lot of them because it's the one console you just burn discs and they just work. So I played a lot of stuff that way. A lot of weird stuff like the Dreamcast version of Shadow Man. I played like EGG Elemental Gimmick Gear. That's like a weird kind of it's like RPG-ish, like Japanese RPG-ish kind of thing that like nobody played. One of the first games I also got was Typing of the Dead with the Dreamcast keyboard. I think that's what I spent my second paycheck on, because I actually learned about that game through Screw Attack videos.
Oh yeah.
I don't remember which one it is, but I know at some point in time I had to listen to you tell me about how dope Typing of the Dead was, and that is why I bought that game. It's just such a weird thing that exists. Like, how many game consoles had a keyboard back then, let alone used for something like this in a game that's like actually super fun? Like, this Mario teaches typing, but this isn't about teaching you typing. This is about seeing how good you are at typing, and you're gonna smoke some motherfucking zombies doing it.
It's pretty lit. I mean, we literally made a game as an homage to that. You know, like the whole texting the bread thing. Yeah, for sure.
I remember
that was pretty fat, man. That was a cool game.
It was.
You look back on that, and you say like, how many games have a keyboard? Now literally every game has a keyboard on it.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, whether it's your phone or whether it's a touchpad or whatever it may be.
You can plug a mouse and keyboard onto the PS4 and Switch versions of Fortnite and play it with that.
Yeah, Fortnite. There's
crazy.
That. Yeah, that's crazy. But man, that is a crazy time, man.
The word Fortnite doesn't seem to bring back pleasant memories, Craig. What's going on here?
Well, I don't get Fortnite. I don't get it.
Fortnite.
I don't understand it. I mean, I like BR games. I love BR games. For me, I can't build in that game. I think I'm too old. I think I'm too old to build, right? I'm not quick enough. So when I watch people play, especially high-level players, right? Like, I have no idea what I'm watching. Zero idea. Like, it's just they're flipping the screen around, they're building stuff, and they're modifying and putting holes.
They just know exactly what mouse movements to do with their like custom key bindings. It's like, and they got a tower. It's like, I don't know how you even do it.
It's crazy. And then, like, you know, I was talking to somebody the other day, and they said they played Fortnite for the first time on the Switch, and they got 8 wins in a row. I'm like, how do you get 8 wins in a row?
I don't know. I got a little known fact about me. I actually do play Fortnite sometimes. It's free. And if I got friends over, we're like, we need something free. It's all on our Switches. We all got our Switches. We have our own screens. My girlfriend and I actually play that quite a bit. Because, again, any night we don't have anything to do. We don't have any new games. Because, like, you know, we're always getting new games and we play through them together. But if there's nothing out right now, there's nothing out. I guess we'll play something free. Fortnite, sure. So we actually, like, got fairly decent at it. I can get Battle Royales, like, semi-consistently now. Her and I playing together. It's fine. Like, everyone hates on Fortnite, but like, I don't know. I felt like it clicked with me after playing it enough times in that context. Like, it's something to play.
Dude, and when is the Fortnite NitroRad video coming?
Never. I will never speak about this game on the internet. I am right now. Oh no! What have I done? What have I done? I'm gonna get so much hate tweets being like, NitroRad plays Fortnite. No, but I mean, like, again, it's fun sometimes. It's fine.
No, I said I have nothing wrong with Fortnite outside of that. I'm really bad at it, and you know, well, okay, actually, I do have something with Fortnite, specifically Epic. Like the fact that it was in early access for 3 years. You know that and just totally abusing the system. That really rubbed me the wrong way. I mean, they just absolutely ruined the release of
I
video
guess
games.
Epic does have a lot of like kind of shitty business practices. I know everyone, like, it feels like every month at least once I have to hear some controversy about some game being on like the Epic Games launcher. Everyone's mad about it. So I know like Epic does a lot of stuff that seems to piss people off.
Hey, but you know they're laughing all the way to their $17 billion valuation, whatever.
Oh god, they're doing that weird thing right now, where like they have like a feud with Apple or something with market sharing. I haven't really looked into it, but that's like the big current controversy now.
They asked for a better cut from the App Store because they want more money. Which, hey, I get it. You know, it is what it is.
I mean, I guess like I can see that perspective. I guess because like, you know, Apple has an absolute domination on that market. They take like a huge share. So you know what?
30%.
I mean, in the end, it might end up being better for like the littler app developers that want a bigger cut too. If like the biggest of the biggest people are like, yeah, fuck you, we want a bigger cut. Maybe that's like the first domino and making, I don't know. Maybe there's a silver lining there somehow. I'd have to read more into it to really know what I'm talking about. I don't want to spew shit on the internet about something I don't know anything about.
Sure, it's like giant company getting mad at gianter company for having a better. Yeah, it's crazy. So
when you put it that way, I could not give a fuck.
Oh god, giant companies is worst. Providing jobs for so many people, it's ridiculous. So tell me something that people may not necessarily know about you. Something that hasn't been spewed on the internet. Your hobbies, your interests, favorite foods, things like that.
God, it's interesting because like there's a lot of games that like I really like that I've never talked about on my channel. So like I feel like a lot of people seem to have a grasp of my general interests, but like the way people like talk to me, sometimes I feel like maybe the man that is James Lewell isn't entirely out there, because sometimes I see people like recommending me stuff that's not necessarily what I would be into. Sometimes I am, but I think it's just because like there's so many games I like that really shape my interests I haven't really thrown up there yet. There's one game in particular I really love. There's actually a drawing of the main character in the background is Hotel Dusk. And I bring this up because I'm doing a video right now on an old FromSoft game called Echo Night. Yeah, I mentioned that earlier.
Yeah.
And that game really reminds me of Hotel Dusk in the way that it's kind of first person. You're walking around and the whole game is kind of like, you find all these people, different types of people living in this hotel, and you kind of stumble upon important things in their life and solve their troubles, and that advances your own case. Echo Night's kind of similar, except it's like a spooky version of that. You see all these troubled souls like trapped in this purgatory that's kind of taken the shape of this old ship that crashed, and they were all doing something. Like when the ship crashed and they all died, so you're kind of going there kind of like, okay, I'm gonna reunite this guy with that film reel he was waiting to premiere at the film festival. I'm gonna get this guy, like, this guy's like, yeah, I died before I could have Ed's iconic whiskey drink one last time. You're gonna mix him that drink and find it to him so we can peacefully pass on. I thought that was like really cool. So then I noticed like that's like Hotel Dusk, so I'm like, finally I get a chance, because I don't want to like shoehorn it in. If it doesn't come up and there's no real space to talk about it, I don't force it in, which is kind of why I think a lot of these things don't get brought up. But finally it's like I get a chance to be like, hey internet, hey world, that's one of my favorite games right there, and that's exciting whenever I get to do that. But again, I don't make it a point. I try to like have it flow. I never feel like it should be forced in. It's like, okay, the moment arrived, you get to learn a little bit more about the dude making the videos. I don't know.
I mean, I love that. I love that you mentioned a game called Hotel Dusk that I've never, like, you mentioned several games that I've never even heard of before, right? And
there's so many video games, dude. There's so many of them.
But that's the beautiful thing about it, is that those games help make you who you are, right?
Yeah.
So, you know, obviously, I would say that you spent a lot of time with your DS.
I did as a kid. I was mad about the DS. I loved that thing when I was a kid.
So, and that really helped shape you as a person, right? And the games on that, right? And obviously, you have a big affinity for horror games, right?
I love horror. Ever since high school is when I really got into horror, and it just quickly became one of my favorite genres.
Oh man, that's crazy. Yeah. Is there a genre that you haven't really talked about on the on the channel that you really want to dig into in time, or is it?
Oh yeah, there is. Yeah, like I was gonna say, like, I don't know, I like some puzzle games, but like there's genres I like. And then there's genres I like, but I know enough about them to talk about them. So platformers, I could tell you exactly what makes a platformer good or bad, because I'm the guy who's played through Haven Call of the King. I've played through Vex and Scalar and Kaya Dark Lineage. I've played so many games that I have such a spectrum of mechanics, good and bad, how they can work together. I can tell you all about that.
What the hell is Haven Call of the King? What the hell are you talking about?
Haven Call of the King is this, No Man's Sky?
Yeah.
Imagine that on PS2, 60 FPS, no loading screens. How the fuck did they program that?
Wow.
Game sucks, but it's a technical feat.
There you go. Right.
John Burton worked on that. Shout out John Burton. He's a programming wizard. He makes all those Lego games now, but he also worked on a couple of oddball stuff that he's really passionate about. But
yeah, so I am looking at gameplay of this. It looks like a
kind of 3D platformer kind of for the main gameplay, but there's also getting in vehicles, going to different planets. It runs amazingly. But the game itself is kind of not so great. It's fine. It's fine. Some parts are cool, some parts are I don't know. I see where they're going for with this. I wish they had more time, more budget to kind of make the thing is, it has a lot of good ideas, but doesn't know how to make them work together. And since I've played so many games like that, I could tell you why they work together, why they don't. But then there's other genres I like a lot, like puzzle games. I couldn't tell you why a puzzle game's good or not, because I don't have that much experience. But there is a genre of game that I played so much of as a kid that I think I could, after doing a couple of them, I could really get down to the nitty-gritty of what makes us good or bad or why it's good.
What is it, James? What is the genre? Tell me now. What is it?
You're not going to... I want you to guess. I want to see if you can guess. Because everyone gets so surprised and don't believe me when I say this.
Okay, hold on. So you said this is a type of game you played growing up.
It's a genre I loved growing up. I still love it, and there's not enough of them now. They only made 3 of these games this generation. This whole genre. Which
console did you play it on?
I played a lot on N64 and GameCube.
Okay, not a whole lot. Okay, so 3D platformers are still a thing.
Yeah.
Let's see. Games on the racing.
Very, very close. Not quite racing. You can race in these types of games, and you do in a lot of the ones that I played, but you can also get points by doing tricks.
Oh, okay.
I want to earn a gold medal.
Nice
Score.
You want to play a jet ski game? How about a jet ski or skateboarding games? Or
very close. Replace the word skate.
Snowboarding?
Snowboarding. I am mad crazy about snowboarding games, and I want to review every single one of them. There's a comprehensive list of every snowboarding game, at least known, on Wikipedia. There's 50 of them. I could do all of that. I got my whole life to do this. I'm going to review every snowboarding game once I run out of platformers.
Oh, love it. Hold on.
SSX, Snowboard Kids, 1080 Avalanche. I even played this shitty one on N64 called Twisted Edge, where backflips look ridiculous. You can play as a naked guy who's from Canada named G. He's a G, dude.
Nice.
So much to talk about there, and nobody really does in the extent that I want to. So I want to be that crazy snowboarding guy after.
You're the guy. You're
going
to be the guy. Well, so
yeah.
One thing, oh man. So I want to start this new series where I rank my top 5 versions of things, and with my guests as well, right? And had I given this more thought, and I know that snowboarding games were so high on your list, I would have loved to have done top 5 snowboarding games.
Yeah.
But we can't do that now.
That's the thing. I love snowboarding games so much, but I haven't played a ton of them. So I wouldn't be able to give you a proper top 5 because it would be the only 5 that I've played.
Sure.
But again, that was me with platformers. It was my favorite genre, but I probably only played 8 a lot growing up. And now I've played way more than that. So again, it's a personal journey. I want to find out what all of these games are, how they can bring something unique to the table. Can you even do something all that unique with snowboarding games after so many games? Let's find out. That's what I want to discover.
I love it. So what's the best one you played? I would clearly think probably a lot of people will think very highly of Snowboard Kids and the latest SSX entry that was attempt to be rebooted. Have you played one or both of those?
I've played a good number of SSX games. I would say Tricky is my favorite one. Mm-hmm. Objectively speaking, I think 3, there's a lot more to do, and the idea of going down a real mountain that doesn't feel like a man-made constructed course is really cool. And though I kind of feel like, though, no, going down the man-made courses with, like, the deliberately placed pipes and the big, like, glass panes to break through, it feels the most like, yeah, this is like a handcrafted racing game.
Sure.
Tricky felt to me, and that's kind of my favorite one. So to me, I think SSX Tricky is, like, as it stands now, best snowboarding game I've ever played, but... Wow. That would absolutely change, I'm willing to bet, and that's another reason I want to... Because, you know, you don't know what's good until you've played it all.
Sure.
I love snowboarding games. I want to figure out what the good ones are so I can play them.
Well, in late 2016, you had to have been in heaven because you had Steep and Snow released. I mean, did you try them?
And that was it. That's like the 2 next-gen snowboard games I ever released, and never played Snow, but Steep was like... Steep's fine. It's okay. I played a bit of it. I got it cheap, and I tried playing it for a couple of days, and I don't know. There's just like nothing to do.
Couldn't
like
do it, huh?
the physics feel good. The movement's good. Warping to the different mountain peaks is like really quick and easy, and it feels really good just to go down the hill. But you need something more than that. I need an obstacle course. I need a reason to like race something. And like instead it's all these like, you know how Assassin's Creed games are like, or Far Cry games, you got all these mini objectives, climb this tower, do the thing,
Sure.
do the stronghold. It's just that shit but snowboarding. So it's no more interesting than, yeah, race this one guy down this hill here and that's just one thing you do, or kind of paraglide. It's just like kind of, it could be the equivalent of like Wii Sports Resorts activities. It doesn't feel like a next-gen snowboarding game. It feels like they have the framework for it, but they didn't make really a full game out of it, and that's the most we ever got this generation. When we have like PS4, we can render all this awesome snow effects, have the physics feel great, and that's all you did with it? Come on, man. Where's our snowboarding games?
I'm sorry. I'm sorry for you. I'm sorry that it didn't work out. But hey, can I tell you one of the best snowboarding games that I've played in the last couple of years?
1,000,000%.
Listen to this. Snowboarding with guns.
Snowboarding with guns.
Listen to this. There's a game called Ring of Elysium.
Ring of Elysium. I'm
Okay.
gonna look that up.
I believe it's a free-to-play game on Steam. Okay, it is a battle royale game, right? Where you have a choice of having one of 3 ways of getting around: either a bike, a snowboard, or a hang glider.
So it's not strictly a snowboarding game.
No, but you can do all sorts of like tricks on your snowboard and stuff. I'm pretty sure it's a snowboard.
And watching gameplay of this now, it just kind of looks like a battle royale, but I guess there's like a lot of like vehicle options, which is cool.
Yeah. It's
Snowboarding being one of them is pretty sick, actually.
Right. Like you just bust out your snow. I'm pretty sure it's a snowboard. I believe so because I think you can snowboard down hills and stuff.
Yeah.
But it's kind of janky. It kind of feels like a mobile game, right? And nobody's playing it. But if you want some sweet
might get some. That might be the only place I can find some modern snowboarding action in 2020 is Ring of Elysium, the battle royale.
Ring of Elysium, there it is. Apparently,
this is what it's come to. That's my only option these days.
I mean, I'm looking on mobile game. Once again, according to everybody's favorite website, Wikipedia.org, there's not been a new mobile game released at all, or period, snowboard game, since literally the game called The Snowboard Game, released April 24th, 2018 for Windows.
Oh my God.
So
I cannot imagine The Snowboard Game is what I'm looking for in a snowboard game.
I mean, maybe it's everything you wanted and you just didn't know.
Could be. I have no way of knowing until I try it, huh?
Hey, and you know what? Maybe we'll find out on your channel real soon. I love that.
Yeah, in like 10 years when I'm finally out of platformers and I'm reviewing snowboard games. So what I want to do is I might review Snowboard Kids like as recently as next year. And I have all the different genres I tackle in different playlists on my main channel. So like there's the horror games, all the platformers / kind of adventure-y kind of games. And then there's like the weird indie games. And then like when I review Snowboard Kids, I just want to make a new playlist just snowboarding games and have that be the only one there for a while. Just so people will see that playlist, be like, wait, so is he gonna do more of these? Is this like a thing now? You know, I want to do that. Like just have the one with its own playlist for a little bit, and then I'll do Snowboard Kids 2, and then I'll do whatever I think of.
I love that you're laying out your entire business
I got plans,
plan.
Dude. I got plans.
Well, okay, let's talk about those plans real quick. I always like to ask people, you said you don't want to do this forever though, right? But how can you not with all the snowboard games attached to it?
I gotta do it until I have a concise documentation of every game I care about. Because that's the end goal at the end, is I want you to click on my channel, be able to type in pretty much any game in these genres, or, you know, at least most of them, and be able to get like a maybe 10 to 30 minute video that shows you exactly what this game is. I'm not gonna like, you know, cut you short. I'm not gonna show the whole thing. No, if I'm reviewing Haven Call of the King, you're gonna see that weird, complicated side quest at the end that nobody freaking did, and you're gonna see that weird hidden ending, you know? I gotta be the guy that has all that information up there. So again, there's a million video games, but there's only so many of them. I'm gonna run out someday. So once that happens, then I want to do other stuff.
But well, what's the other stuff?
I want to make movies, and I want to do voiceover.
Okay. Well, then what's stopping you from doing voiceover? You can do that right now.
I like doing YouTube right now.
Okay.
Voiceover's my plan B, and also, I know the older I get and the more I practice speaking, the better my voice is going to get. I always joke that I went through a second puberty, because if you look at my earliest videos, my voice, I'm not nearly as fluent. I had braces in a lot of them, and like I kind of fumbled my speech a lot more. I kind of spoke too fast a lot of times. I mean, I still do that sometimes, but it's the coffee that's making me
only
speak
with caffeine.
fast now. Only with caffeine can I speak a mile a minute. But I noticed that my voice continued, like from 19 to 26, my voice continued getting deeper, and the texture of it kept improving over the years. And I think it's literally just because I speak so much into a microphone. I practice speaking all the time, because your voice is a muscle, and the more you use that muscle, the more you exercise it. And I'm a firm believer that does help, because it has. Like, again, look at an older video, and my voice doesn't sound anything like it does now. I also just kind of got better at speaking in general. I feel like a lot of people, when they're early on into doing narration or like narrating YouTube videos or just speaking into a microphone, they fall into like a repetitive rhythm. They might be talking like this, and then they get to a comma, and then they finish the sentence like this, and everything sounds like that. And then you hear that in my earlier videos, but I feel now I have so many different ways that I can say each sentence, and I feel like it feels a lot more natural now. Again, not 100%, but I don't want to do voiceover until I'm really, really good at it. The voice quality is there. Maybe another 10 years in my 30s, I want to narrate. Like, I really would love to narrate like history documentaries, not like sports stuff or radio stuff. Like another thing, going back to you saying that I have like a nice voice, again, which I appreciate. But you're not the first person to tell me that. All throughout high school and middle school, whenever we had to like read aloud, I would always get that same comment. They would always say, "You got a radio voice." And I never took that seriously, because they're just English teachers. They're paid to make you feel good about yourself. So they encourage you, whatever. You just got to be nice to the kids. But then when I get into college, we had to do a commercial for like a project. And we hand in the project, and I was doing the narration for it. And our teacher, Ash, he just goes, "Who did the voice for this?" And I just raised my hand. I was like, "It was me." He goes, "Okay, can you come with me?" Brings me to another room. And he goes, "If I pay you $100, can you read these lines right here?" And I was like, the moment I was offered money by someone that heard my voice to do it, I took it a little more seriously. I thought, you know what, maybe there is something here. If it's not teachers telling me this, but like a film professor that has a side gig, corporate film job that he needs narration for, and he's going to pay me to do it, maybe there is something here.
Right. And
so
you're probably like, "You can pay me $5, and I would,
no,
sure.
yeah, no. So like, ever since that, like, it's something I think about a lot. I want to do like narration for like, maybe commercials, but most primarily I'd love to do history documentations and stuff like that. Documentary I'd love to do narration for. And I practice speaking a lot. Every morning in the shower, I often just like try to remember the dream I had. So because it's just something to talk about. So I'll talk to myself in the shower, explain to myself the dream I had. And that's just kind of my way of practicing speech in the morning, just to exercise my vocal cords daily.
Nice. That's cool. And you get to remember what your dreams are about.
It really does help. Like, I can remember a lot of my dreams, because I find like you wake up, you don't think about them, and they're gone. But if you like reiterate the whole thing, if I like go over the whole thing out loud, not just thinking about it, but if I say it all out loud, then I can remember it for a long time. Like, I can still remember a lot of dreams, and it's only the dreams that I talk to myself about in the shower.
I can imagine Listen, I'm not imagining you in the shower, but I'm imagining your girlfriend walking by, listening to you in the shower, and you're like, and then this giant banana man chased me down through the rings of Saturn, and it's like, it's like,
no, it's literally like that. It's like, yeah, and then and then I get into this big hallway, and there's this man standing at the end. There's like a light wrapping around him, and then like someone's probably like in the next room just hearing, and then there's a giant, and then it just came over here and started changing the weather, and they're probably like, what the fuck is he talking?
Right. Yeah. James has gone fucking insane.
My mom's actually asked me, like, why do you talk to yourself in the shower? And I've explained her, because, like, she knows I narrate for a living. She knows, she knows I'm talking into a microphone all the time, so she gets it. But it's still, like, it's a not an easy question to dig yourself out of. It's like, why were you talking about, like, baloney men in the shower, James? I'm like... It happens. I'm sorry.
You want to ask me while I was talking about baloney men in the shower, mother? It's
like, what do you think?
Yeah, why? Well, I think that's a good place to stop today. I feel like it's a good place to let's go.
Yeah.
Let's go pull it right there. I think that's a good place to go. But
Conversation ends at baloney men.
This is
say no more.
All good conversation should, and it's great. Well, this has been super fun. I appreciate you coming on, man, and chit chatting and stuff. And
have you got to learn a little bit more about the man that is James NitroRad on the internet.
There you go. Nailed it. Loved it. Yeah. That's great stuff. Well, we'll let everybody know where they can find you.
All right, so I'm on YouTube, just NitroRad, 2 words, NITRO, space, RAD. I do reviews just of mostly platform games. Sometimes I'll talk about kind of weirder indie games. I'm a big film nerd. I like weird media. I like weird indie stuff, so I'll be reviewing stuff like Hylix. I reviewed this game called Umurangi, which is this cool cel-shaded jet set radio-looking game all about photography, where you're changing lenses and stuff. Super cool stuff. I like talking about stuff that's weird, stuff that's scary, and stuff about movement, platforming and stuff. I love games about movement, and I think that's another reason why I want to talk about snowboarding down the road. But you can check me out on YouTube, NitroRad. That's the stuff I talk about. That's what I do. And thanks for having me on the podcast, Craig. This has been super cool.
Love it.
Honestly, you're one of my childhood heroes all through my teenage years. I grew up listening to you tell me all about all sorts of stuff, and honestly, you were a big inspiration for me just talking about stuff I think is cool too.
Well, thanks, man. And now I get to listen to you talk about stuff, which is so fun.
Yeah,
so
it all
great.
comes full circle. All comes full circle.
It's always cool to hear people say that they watched me growing up, or they watched me, or Screw Attack was an inspiration. It's always amazing to hear that stuff, and to see how much James has grown over his career is outstanding. Like I said, nearly 300,000 subscribers. This guy reviews whatever he wants. I mean, it's great. The stuff that relates to him, which if you haven't seen him, go check him out. He's really, really great. Appreciate you guys tuning in this week. If you guys made it this far, and of course, subscribe. If you've already subscribed, consider checking out my Patreon. That is the best way to support this show and make sure that it continues. So patreon.com/CraigSkitz. Anything you can support with is greatly appreciated. Listen, episode 11 next week, Monday. You know it. Mondays are CraigSkitz podcast days. Noon Central Time. Get hyped. All right, let's go binge watch some stuff and be ready to go. Mondays at noon, Wednesdays at noon. Oh, baby, we got some good stuff brewing here. Guys, thanks so much. I'll see you guys next week or on Wednesday or on Monday. Just go watch some more stuff. Thanks, guys. We'll see you guys later on. Bye-bye.